The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Wednesday, the 3rd day of November, 2021. Welcome to the Daily Hour, brought to you by Medical House One Communications and Lindos. I'm Jamal Hartman. She's Sherry Vanderpool. He's Larry Marshall Jr. and Leanna Lambert. What was I saying? Leanna Lambert. Woo! Leanna Lambert. Leanna T. Lambert. You see, I'm going to call her whole government now. I need to find out what the T means, though. Don't judge me yet. We'll be with us in a bit to bring you the latest in her news break, brought to you by People's Pharmacy. Why are you laughing at me like that on Hump Day, Sherry? Like, I'm not here for your entertainment, lady.
Well, I seem to be here for your entertainment.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Whenever you decide that you're going to, get tongue-tied and twist it all up, I am going to take advantage of every little minute. Oh, serious? Okay.
I'm just going
All
to make me up. Is this blueberry or blackberry? I don't know what it is.
Yeah, you'll soon find out. Face the old blowing up on air.
Your hair looks very nice.
Thank you, Jamal.
She didn't see that one coming, Larry. She didn't see that one coming. Hey, look.
Bro, it's good to be back, you guys. I haven't been on a while. I like the city vibe has changed right now, and maybe it's because our Braves won last night.
Yeah. Hold
There
on.
we go, Jamal. There we go, Larry.
Hold on. Can we have a moment? Hold on. We don't. It's not air horns, but we're gonna give them one. We're gonna give them a cut match air horn. Turn your volume up a little, Larry. Some people couldn't hear your celebratory remarks, but yes, our Atlanta Braves did win. Sherry, are you gonna go to the parade?
No, but I will watch it. I don't know, Jamal. That's a whole lot of people. Have you experienced Atlanta traffic just on a Monday on a regular day? I don't know about all of that. COVID is still real. I don't know. Let's see.
I will say this. I went to school in North Carolina, and I've seen the Tar Heels win the championship twice, and I went to the parade both times after they won and everything. Not the parade, but after they won, and I wasn't comfortable with all those people neither. It was just, I'm like, this is too much people in one place. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
This is it. And this is pre everything else in it, Larry. So
Yeah.
Could you imagine? So the ticket is, I'm sure it's a ticket day parade or ticket parade or something, right? It's something. But nevertheless, leave me alone, Jamal.
I thought I said it under my breath. Honestly, I didn't realize I said it out loud.
But I'm excited that they won. It was I wish they would have did it here. That would have been just
Me too.
Bananas. But it's even extra special that they even didn't at the same token. Like it's so I was excited.
Just happy they won, but the Braves have put you through a lot of heartache over the years. Just get it done.
Well, John Smoltz said something very interesting. John Smoltz, former pitcher of the champion 95. He said the difference between when they won in 95 and now is in 95, they had won so many division titles year after year. They were expected to win. This team was not expected to win anything. So, they overcame injury to the best player. They made a lot of midseason trades. They without paying a lot of salary. It was like genius how they operated. So the city of Atlanta, I mean, we can't disregard what they call Atlanta United did win in 2018, but of course, football, the real football, not the American kind, isn't appreciated in the US.
Right.
Soccer.
Yeah, that's what they call it. Yeah, whatever. But it's not appreciated in the US enough to the point where people would generally say that's a championship they've won yet.
Right.
One day they'll get there, but congrats to the city of Atlanta, my Braves. And folks, let me just be clear, because I know all you probably thinking jumping on a bandwagon. I've been a Braves fan since Sid Bream, Tom Glavine, Fred McGriff, Brad Maddox, like you name it. Like I've been to Braves games as a child. Me and my daddy were reminiscing about the first game he took me to, Fulton County Stadium. So this is not like I just watched TV and all of a sudden became a fan of a team that's winning. I know that's what you think of me. It's probably true in some other sports, but not this one. Not this one.
Well, for me, I choose where I have lived. So I've been a Texas Ranger, and I'm talking about Nolan Ryan days, to when I moved here to, yeah, you know who that is.
You were around back in Nolan Ryan days? You like that one? She's cursing? Oh, I thought you was cursing.
All under my breath, all off camera. I'm trying to keep the fingers in. And then, of course, now, moving to Atlanta. So I'm always an Atlanta, Texas fan in all sports.
I'm going to say this, folks. Sherry, she's living where the champions are. I'm going to tell you. Bermuda.
And we're all on the same page.
If you're feeling like you want a champion, bring her along. Anyway, let's get to the show. Good morning, everyone, and thanks for making us part of your daily routine. Another good one today as chairwoman of the Bermuda Alliance. Catherine Kempe is in the house, and it's a throne speech coming up. We'll be talking about that. The daily play is a say it, don't sing it, a relatively easy song for Sherry to guess today. So she shouldn't have any trouble with that. Let's get to the conversation, though. A lot's going on in Bermuda. There were some incidents I saw on the news network, TNN, Trevor Lindsay yesterday, that were quite disturbing, but we'll probably touch on that a bit. But one of the conversations that I felt that we haven't had, we talked a lot about the pandemic. We talked about distance learning. We talked about the vaccine. We talked about, so many things surrounding it, especially mental health. We have. But what I feel like we've neglected as a community, as a collective, is physical health. And I think it's important to have Larry as a part of the conversation today as a former health educator. And I shouldn't say former because you still do train people in that respect. So as a health educator, but the question today, and folks, I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm the laziest person here, so don't judge me with some of the things that I will say. Don't let me fool you. But the question is, how have you managed to keep you and your family physically healthy through the pandemic? And I would love as much engagement as possible from the audience, because this is something we can learn from. We can definitely learn. And I'm going to use myself as an example. I never ran outdoors before the pandemic. When I say never ran outdoors, you would have to go all the way back to high school when we had to run cross country.
Yeah,
I've been a treadmill person my entire adult life. The pandemic made me make that change. And folks, I now understand why Larry and Lamont Marshall don't do treadmills.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But to the question, I know we touched on about distance learning in school, and one of the thoughts I had was, well, how is that going to work with physical education? And I spoke to one of my former colleagues who still does physical education, and they said, no, we still do it. It's not the same, but you're trying to do, it's a bit more circuit training and stuff like that. Obviously, you can't do sports skill-based stuff because equipment's low, but I know it was a bit of shifting or improvisation that the educators did take. But of course, you still have, physical education has shifted. You have a lot more written assignments, written tests, along with the physical aspect too. Whereas I think when we was coming along, it was heavy on the physical side. I get both sides of it, but I think they did as best possible. I'm sure that everyone in education is just glad to be back in normal settings so they can, get back to the regular physical activity that the children need.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I was that kid at school that cross country day, I'm like, oh, please. So I feel for that distant learning for a child like myself who was active. I like netball and I like those kind of things. But, what about those parents who aren't physically able to even encourage kids or get out there and do the activity with the child and all of those kind of things? How is it that, they can still get it and be guided, with extra help,
I yeah, excellent. Because when you don't know, you don't know. But if it's any advice I can give somebody who's just looking to start is just a general stroll walk is a start. You know what I mean? I think, oh, we have to go and do this and become strenuous and do things. I always even when I tell Jamal and I advise Jamal with stuff, I say, make it easy. If mornings isn't easy for you, then don't do mornings. If lunch times is better for you, then do lunch times. If a 30-minute walk is good, like go to the end of the block and back and let them take the bike and run and they turn around. Whatever is easy is good because I think we got caught up with or confused with we are doing physical activity to prepare for high performance, whether it's sport or preparing for some sort of competition. But we are talking about general wellness, health, movement, to get the blood flowing, to help you feel better. You actually sleep better. So it's what's easy for you as long as we're doing it and we're consistent by it.
Sherry, you made a point, and I'm gonna touch on what Larry just said, but you made a point about maybe what about the parents who are not able to be physically active? I hadn't even thought of that, like, because growing up, maybe it was just go outside and play, and they couldn't even really go outside. Remember, like, you had to be confined in certain areas. But then to Larry's point, about being, the creativity, and the Chica Trot says PE teachers have been very creative in the delivery of this course content, right? I had an idea when I was just listening to you, Larry, but obviously it cost. And I don't know if government has the promised laptops to all the schools yet. I know when the minister was on, he said that they were somewhere close to there. But what I thought about was what I did with Larry. So for instance, for me, he encouraged me for a couple years to get a Garmin watch, right? If teachers had the ability to get some, not cheap, but cost-effective watches or something to monitor their students for physical education, that could have actually been something genius. That they could have said, okay, guys, everyone, we're going to get our heart rate here. And you're teaching them about heart rate, because Larry will tell you, I'll be running, I'll have a good time. He'll be like, oh, yeah, you need to slow down.
And
go ahead.
And that happens regularly throughout the school year pre-pandemic. That was something that was happening, I know, at least at the middle school level. But do you have it? What happens when they take it home? Does it get lost? Those types of different things. Costs.
Right.
Obviously, budgets have been slashed big time in certain ways, and a heart rate monitor will get slashed. I agree that will be one of the first things. So it's definitely free internet apps where you're able to log in and say what you're done. And as Ms. Trott said, they have been very creative with it, if that's possible. I think one area that kind of concerned me is I heard a lot of parents talk about, my child's going to eat me out of a house because they're home all day. So they was eating all day. I just remember going back when I was 11, 12, 13, I was hungry all the time. I was on movement. So the diet portion is, I feel, something that we could really hone in on, and I don't know if that is necessarily happening.
Wow. Yeah, I agree. Like, Larry probably be telling me, Sherry, up your heart rate. Like, come on, get moving. But, back again to when you talk about the parent portion of it, I could use Mama Patterson as an example. Back then, my mama wasn't that person. No, I'm going to watch her run marathon this weekend. You know what I mean? It's the progression of it. And and she is big on diet, and as you said, Larry, diet is, if you stick with that portion of it. But again, Bermuda, when we talk about prices and we talk about choices and we talk about, healthy and unhealthy vegans and, no fat free, and you just go ahead and buy it, but it's got all of this other stuff in it. You
Yeah.
know, the nutrition stuff, knowing what's in the foods that kids should eat. You know, I'm sure that's part of physical education, right? Or is that health and nutrition?
Yes, well, it's all under the same umbrella.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
I think it can even shift from the school part to everyday life. And if I use myself, for example, during the pandemic, I was able to stop eating chicken and red meat. I only eat fish right now.
Right.
And not because I'm against it, it's just I don't want to eat meat with a whole lot of hormones. And
Mhm.
I eat
Gotcha.
fast food, which
Mhm.
you know is probably the worst meat that they're buying. I've also put into my diet a large amount of raw vegetables. I eat
Mhm.
probably 8 to 10 ounces of raw vegetables every day.
Mhm.
And I just notice a difference on how it makes me feel. I have less mucus and all those different types of things. I try to take my vitamins and stuff like that. I forget. I'm being honest.
Let's go to the audience. We have a lot of audience participation. Talent and Okina for you, Larry.
I mean, the parking position doesn't count as cross country running. No.
Is he talking about my parking far away? Dude, seriously? Shit like that? That's the first. You know what?
Thank you.
Go ahead, Larry.
Inched my way into a better eating and movement routine. That's good.
And
Mm.
truthfully, that's what we're supposed to do.
Yeah.
You know, don't try be like me, go all crazy. Go ahead, Sherry.
No, I do the same. Walking the dog daily to the mall and grocery stores, etc. Yeah, you know, I try to do a little step aerobics in there. And with your vitamins, Larry, what I've started to do is put them out in a little cup, the exact
Right.
dosage, and try to take them like that and leave
Right.
them out.
I just want to go back to that dog comment as we try to get through these comments. But you all can put walking your dog, this and that about it, your dog, this, whatever. Guess what? It ain't happening.
Buy the woman a dog, Jamal.
James Burt says, I exercise more during lockdown with those neighborhood walks. Need to get back to those. Akeem McGowan, Sherry.
Then went on YouTube, searched for 15 routines in the beginning, increased time as my body felt stronger. Daughter joined in sometimes. Awesome.
YouTube was the place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And people think, okay, Marshall, you used to run and you do stuff. If I take a break, I cannot just go right back to where I was or a certain level. I have to, as the commenter put before, inch my way back in. So it's a start. You have to go somewhere, and it's progressive, but make it easy and make it work for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's it right there. I mean, we speak about this, Sherry, and we were talking about something yesterday. I can't remember topics day to day, folks. This is daily thing. But whatever we were discussing yesterday, we spoke about how everyone's different. Circumstances are different for everyone. And it's no different with exercise. Physically, our bodies are different. Sherry and I may be able to run the same time, but our heart rates might be very different, right?
Yeah.
There's so many different aspects. And I'm going to be honest with you. Until Larry brought it up to me first time last year, he mentioned that. I didn't realize that might have been a cause for my headaches, right? Simple things like that. And so now when I slow down, I don't suffer from the same headaches because I'm not pushing myself. Even though I can run faster, my body is not ready for that per se. Anthony Butler says, I have tapped into the YouTube for exercise routine, something that I never did pre-pandemic. So YouTube was a big thing. Sloan Johnson says, I packed their lunches as if they were going to school, and that's what they had for the day. That's cool.
I like that.
That's cool. That's some creativity right there. Nachiko Trot, Sherry.
Ensuring I sat in the sun for at least 15 minutes a day and walked at least 5 days a week. Oh, that's awesome as well. People forget about that sun and vitamin D. It's very needed.
I actually, as a person who was worked inside, I made it a point to try to get outside in the sun rather during a break time because I didn't realize how important vitamin D was for darker skinned people until it was spoken about during the pandemic. So again, we live and we learn, and folks, that's some good insight right there. Carla John says, my son got me hooked on virtual reality games using a VR headset. You can literally be dripping with sweat and have no idea how long you've been playing. The Beat Saber game is my favorite. So I didn't even consider that exercise, but once you're sweating, I guess it is, right?
body knows that you're burning calories in a certain way and whatnot. So it doesn't know if it's registering it as a moderate movement, then
Yeah.
you take that.
Yeah. I sent pictures of Jamal and I didn't feel like doing my step aerobics, and I sent him a picture and I was like, see, I'm pink. Like I did something. I did like it was I think it was like an hour class, but I think I did maybe 30 to 40 minutes because like Jamal, I was getting a headache at one point and I just didn't think I ate properly prior to, and that's important as well. People, when you talk about inching, people, oh, let me just go work out, but we haven't hydrated. We haven't fueled our body. We haven't did all of these things as well. But yeah.
Let's bring Leanna into the convo. Lee, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, guys. I am great. I am feeling great. How are you?
Stuff.
She's just coming with this like I just went for a run energy like
Well, I'd be happy to say that I started off the month right despite my very long week last week from PGA. On Monday, I went for a nice long 2.5 mile, almost 3 mile walk through the trails. So to kind of de-stress and get back to my normal regime. So I feel my burns have been moving, guys.
So you've done nothing since, right?
Listen, it's early Wednesday. We can do every other.
Hey, see, I weren't the one that threw the shade at you, Lee.
I was saying Larry says shady.
Yeah, I didn't do it. I didn't do it.
Larry.
I didn't do it. Well, no, I'm encouraged though. I'm encouraged because again, like Sherry did. She sent me a picture the other day. I'm like, and we had this talk off her. Her and I had a very private conversation. You know, we're doing what we have to do for ourselves. We know what to do. I'm honest. Like, I am very appreciative of having someone like Larry who actually gives me feedback and watches my stuff. Sometimes I'm like, I hope he didn't look today, but like when because the app allows you to go like, but it's something that I hope that if anything, you know, the best gift we can give to ourselves is good health, and that's mental, physical, and emotional.
Well, I know my limits. I definitely know my limits, and there's one thing that I refuse to do. Tried it once, but I will never do the cycling classes ever again.
I love spinning.
Ever. I do not have the endurance for it. Like we did the initial warm up, and I thought it was over. That was just the warm up. No, I don't have it. I love
cycling, spinning. I know my shoes. I've got shorts. I love spinning.
Oh my God.
No, I was just saying, you know, lastly, don't feel guilty if it doesn't go perfect, people. You know what I mean? Like they're gonna have hip hop, real life happens. We're not professional athletes and stuff. So just, you know, work on it, get back on track, and that's how it should be.
Indeed. Well, folks, Larry, thank you so much for this. And am I allowed to say congrats? And
yes,
congrats to Larry, folks. Much love to Larry. He is do they still say jump in the broom?
Everybody knows what you mean. Jump.
Okay. He'll be jumping the broom to his beautiful bride this weekend. So I do have my suit. I cannot be there, but you're my brother. I love you both and wish you nothing but the best, man.
Yes, thank you.
Congratulations, Larry.
Congrats, Larry.
He's married.
Yeah.
That's from The Color Purple, Jamal.
Oh, she does me, right? But let me get
Thank you, Sherry. Throw me on right under.
Let me get in my piggy bank. Try to find somebody got a wedding gift. See you later, bro. Have a good one. Lee, over to you.
Later.
Thanks, Jamal, Larry, and Sherry. Happy hump day to all of those who are tuned in with us this morning. I hope you all are having a great start to your day. I'm Leanna Lambert, and it's time for the Daily Hour News Break brought to you by People's Pharmacy. Well, after months of isolation, family and friends will finally be reunited with their loved ones as the Bermuda Hospitals Board announces that visitation into the island's hospital and Mid-Atlantic Wellness Center will be allowed. Now, the BHB's disaster alert level is set to be reduced from 3 to 2 following a decline in active coronavirus cases. Some elective surgeries will begin taking place as early as this week, with gradual increases over the next weeks, they say. Eased restrictions at the hospital will allow one person to accompany a patient to the emergency department, two persons allowed with vulnerable individuals and children, support for maternity up to 8 hours after birth, while the hospital's acute care patients' visitation varies by specific wings. Now, for more information on visiting limits, visit the BHB website. In other news, it is said that two men appeared in magistrate's court yesterday in connection with last week's shooting at Robin Hood Bar, which saw two men killed, an off-duty officer injured, and another man left in hospital. Now, details are unclear of the appearance. However, reports are suggesting that the session was held via camera and that the media was not permitted into the courtroom. Police only confirmed that two persons had been arrested in connection with the incident, which took place last Tuesday, and that the investigation continues. Meanwhile, the opposition One Bermuda Alliance is shaking things up with a partial cabinet reshuffle. OBA leader Cole Simons announced the changes, saying since retiring from banking, Susan Jackson will take on the position as Shadow Minister of Transportation and spokesperson in the House for Education. Other changes include a transference of the Ministry of Home Affairs, including the environment, to the Shadow Minister of Legal Affairs, with Scott Pierman, and the Shadow Ministry of Economic Development has been appointed to Senator Marcus Jones. And the Bermuda Football Association has officially confirmed the squad that will play for a chance in the CONCACAF Under-20 Championship qualifiers in the Dominican Republic. Now, the matches kick off this weekend with Bermuda set to take on Barbados on Saturday. Then on Monday, they will go head-to-head with St. Vincent and the Grenadines, while their last match will be a week today when they take on Puerto Rico. Taking a look at today's weather, we have a high near 77 and a low near 69 degrees. It is a cloudy start to the day, becoming brighter later. Now, a weak area emerges nearby and may cause the odd shower to drift over the island today. A complex area of low pressure will then develop and approach later this week, increasing the potential for wet weather throughout the weekend. That's all for our daily hour news break, brought to you by People's Pharmacy. But here's a little helpful tip from your favorite community pharmacist. Tylenol on an empty stomach is fine. However, Advil needs to be taken with or after food. It can lead to terrible acid if taken on an empty stomach. Talk to your trusted People's Pharmacist about the best way to take all your medication, prescription, herbal, and over the counter. Now let's head back to Jamal and Sherry in the studio for today's Daily Focus.
All right. Thanks so much for that, Lee. And One Bermuda Alliance Shuffle. I'll have to ask the chair, Catherine Kempe, about that. She's backstage waiting to come. Lee, we'll see you tomorrow.
I'll see you guys tomorrow. Kate.
All right. Have a great one.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, Sherry, being rude to me, talking about color purple, this, color purple, that, whatever. Let's go to a little break, and we'll be back with the chair of the One Bermuda Alliance, Catherine Kemp. Don't go anywhere.
Hi, I'm Karen, a nurse at the old folks home. These long hours used to kill my feet until my hairdresser told me about a great place to buy a pair of clogs. Medical House. Finally, relief. They also carry uniforms in bright, bold colors. And not to mention the support stocking.
Karen, Miss Soltis bet her bet again.
Oh gosh, these days, I need all the support I can get.
Medical House has relocated next to the Dandytown Field, number 6 Bakery Lane, Pembroke.
Here's a health food company who meet the vegan food challenge head on. Field Rose, proud purveyors of vegan good eats designed to replace the meatiness and cheesiness traditionally bestowed by animal products. From a meat eater's point of view, this is mission impossible. Field Roast has cracked the code, allowing plant proteins to deliver flavors that supersede those of animal origin. Try Field Roast chew slices, tomato cayenne, coconut herb, and original cream. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
Alrighty, welcome back to the big show. She's Sherry Vanderpool. I'm Jamal Hartman. It's the Daily Hour, brought to you by Medical House One Communications, Lindo's, and People's Pharmacy. Without further ado, let's bring our guest for the day, Sherry. We have the chairwoman chair. I don't know if I'll ask her what she prefers, chair or chairwoman of the One Bermuda Alliance, because the language is important, folks, and
Yes, it is.
and it's necessary to ask people from the One Bermuda Alliance. Catherine Kemp, welcome to the show, my friend. How are you?
Good morning. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
No problem. Thank you for coming. Thanks for trusting our platform. But a serious question: what do you prefer, chair or chairwoman?
Chair.
Chair. Okay, perfect. Yep. And that, again, this is important because folks, Sherry and I have a joke when we first met. Jamal and Jamal is a big difference now. But if you don't tell me, and if I don't ask, then we don't know. So thank you for that. And as I stated, thanks again. But Leanna mentioned a shuffle in her news break just now, and I didn't plan to ask about a shuffle, but can you add any light or shed any light as to what was behind the shuffle?
Yeah, so as our leader, Cole, mentioned during his release, is that MP Susan Jackson has recently retired from her role in the banking industry. And so that's allowing her to take up a little bit more responsibilities as a shadow minister now. So, and that's really, really positive. So our team itself isn't changing, just reshuffling some of the responsibilities because of personal situations. But I think it's going to be absolutely amazing.
Gotcha. And might I say, she was a guest on this show earlier this year, and I just loved her. I really appreciated her and the information she shared. Let's talk about where the One Bermuda Alliance is as a political party. Something that happened earlier this year, which I'm sure that none of you probably care about, the majority of the public doesn't care about, but there were some awards given out, and the award was given to, I guess, Social Justice Bermuda over the opposition. Do you all take note of that? Is it something that you look at as a, dig to your lack of work deemed by the organization or the voters of that? Or do you just say, you know what, that's just something happening on the side, we're focused on doing this job? Like, where are you at as a political party as far as what you're trying to accomplish and do?
We're trying not to get too bogged down in the weeds of the conversations and what is going on in that periphery and with those other items. We are really focused on our strategic plan, on getting back of, rebuilding the way that we need to be in order to be that strong opposition inside the house and outside the house that our country deserves and expects.
No, understood. And it's so easy to get distracted. I mean, a person like me, you put something in the side of me and I'm looking over there like, what's that? I get it, but that's why I'm not in the political space. But based on the OBA's report card, which was quite hilarious, Sherry thought it was the cutest thing ever, right? But what do you expect better of the PLP per se? So, it doesn't look like you're too happy based on the report card, but what do you feel like based on the report card that how could they have done better in these respects, I guess I'm asking?
Okay, no, I think that's absolutely great. Let's talk about the report card, because the report card was a social media piece that we've done in the past in traditional print media, but we decided to go social media with it this time. Normally when we do the report cards, it's after they have been in power for a full year. So we've seen their throne speech from last year come and go. And really, what were the promises that they made to Bermuda during that past throne speech, and where are they now in terms of everything? So that's exactly what we were grading them on. It's like, did they do last year what they said that they were intending to do? And if not, why? And how have they been doing on it? So there's definitely room for improvement. They can say last year, we didn't know COVID was going to hit. We didn't know we were going to get a second wave, a third wave, a fourth wave. But that would be really irresponsible for them to say that, because they knew last November what was happening in other parts of the world and the subsequent waves and the variants that were happening in those areas. So really, they should have taken that more into consideration and not just be focusing purely on COVID, but on everything else that we need as a country as well.
Okay, and let's just go through it just for those who may not know what was in the report card. So the handling of the pandemic, the One Bermuda Alliance gave a D, said Premier started out well, Premier Burt started out well, but performance has declined recently. Can you just touch on what do you mean by performance has declined recently? Because I've been harsh on the premier from the beginning and thought his performance was poor. I just think it was, lapped up. People enjoyed it and they gave him 30-6, right? I don't see much change between how he was in the beginning or now. But what's the change that you all saw?
Okay, so where was our premier during September and early October? Where were the press conferences that were promised even by technical officers? Well, people are dying. Well, families are suffering. Well, the hospital is being shut down. Where was our premier to help guide the country through this?
Okay, fair enough. So I completely understand.
Yeah.
So he was not visible and present in a time when you felt the country could have been. The next one was transparency. He got a D. And residents have many questions, but answers are slow to be given. What in particular, as far as transparency, do you feel the government needs to be more transparent with?
Just about everything. I mean, when you look at some of the cabinet contracts that are given, and the answers and the questions that are being done in the House, there is definitely room for more information that can be given upfront by our premier and his team.
Alrighty, and education was actually his highest grade.
Got a good grade.
This is my level. This is my level here. I didn't really flirt with B+ or A, but I got a couple B's. But education, he got a B. Handling of getting students back into the classroom. So I think you kind of that's self-explanatory. But stimulating the economy, a C-. I'm actually shocked that was that high.
Yeah.
But, effectiveness of the national economic plan. So you got a C-. I don't think we need to go any further. I think that would be consensus, but I think I would have probably been a bit lower. Protecting seniors and the vulnerable F. The cost of living continues to increase. Self-explanatory. Labor relations, C. Too many disputes with unions. I think a large majority of our audience would agree. Handling of healthcare, F. No evidence of burn speech promises cap. Well, it seems like since the pandemic, the whole healthcare conversation went away.
It absolutely did, and that's really scary. So what he said during the last throne speech was that we were going to be working towards universal healthcare. But we all remember what happened in the past with the patients first. The doctors didn't buy into this. A lot of patients didn't buy into this. There's a lack of really hard evidence. What we know is that the premier announced in his PLP annual conference speech that they are actually looking to rolling out a new healthcare plan over the course of the year. The problem is that not everyone has been engaged in that. So they've hired a new consultant. They've been going through the process for the last year of getting this rebuilt. But yet at the end of the day, are we going to have that buy-in and have a plan that's actually going to work for Bermuda and for Bermudians? And right now, we're not seeing any evidence of that whatsoever. So are we going to go through the same path that we've hired another consultant? They've looked at a whole bunch of data that government wants them to see, talk to who government wants them to talk to. And at the end of the day, we're just going to have more marches and rallies and this be shuffled off to the side again. We really need to be more engaging, calling for community input right from the very beginning of this, making sure that we have the doctors on board, the dentists on board, the insurers on board, and that this is actually really going to work because we are a small dot in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. We need to have strong healthcare here locally.
And the final one was a C for listening to youth, dismisses their criticism on social media. Share a bit more on that, if you may.
Okay, and I think that also goes back to for those of you who didn't listen to the premier at his PLP annual gala, go on, take a listen to it. He actually criticized youth again during it, where he said it's not enough to be tagging your MP or tagging him on social media, that's not the way to engage and that's not the way to get involved, and to be communicating that he wants people in the room. Well, not everyone wants to be in the room, but the fact is that social media and communicating via Twitter, via Facebook, via TikTok, and all of Instagram, that's reality.
Yeah.
So if he's going to dismiss that, then he's not listening to the youth at all and to what their needs are and what their issues are.
Gotcha.
Because that's it. That's what's going on now. That's
Yeah.
the type of youth that we have at this point.
Exactly. And it's just so easy. It's like, I've got a question, I've got a concern. Let me tag them. Let me get the answer. And if you're not being engaged in that area, then that's a problem.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
Sorry. The throne speech is on Friday. What are One Bermuda Alliance's expectations of the government this year?
Well, we are always very, very hopeful. We know that we've been told that we're in for a long winter. We heard that from the premier last week in his speech. We're seeing that in the international reports. Inflation is going up. We've got our employment rates that are absolutely abysmal here locally. But we want to see more plans for our youth. We want to see more plans for small businesses to support retail locally and to make it easier to get into business and stay into business. So Sherry, yesterday, when you were asked the question, $100,000 for work to build your own business or for school, you made the point that it was actually really, really difficult to even get into business and the legal issues and the frameworks to even start your own business. That's a big issue. So we are hopeful that we're going to start to see things that are going to make it easier for business to operate.
Okay. And when you discuss being relevant, you talked about the social media portion of it and staying connected to the youth. How do you remain relative as a political option right now? How do you remain?
I think we are extremely relevant. I mean, we've got most of our candidates from the last election are still in the room. You are seeing us being engaged more with the community. We've got our regional clinics that are ongoing. We've got our candidates who are out canvassing, and we are honestly listening to people. Not everyone listens to the House, but if you do take the time to listen to the House on a Friday, what you're going to find is that our team in the House, every single person is talking as a team and fighting for the country and their constituents. We do not have a silent backbench. We do not have any MPs who have been in the House for almost an entire year before giving their first maiden speech in the House.
Well, I mean, no shade, but it is only 6 of you. So I mean, if you of the 6, if one didn't say something, I would probably be like, all right, we're not asking you to leave the party. We're telling you leave the party.
But even when we were government, we were working as a team and making sure that all of our MPs, not just the cabinet ministers, we're getting the time on to be able to fight for their constituents and have their concerns heard. It might not always be pretty. It might always be agreed upon. But if we're talking about something that affects healthcare and national security, we should be hearing from both ministers.
Well, in fairness, no shade again, but I listened to the House pretty much weekly when the One Bermuda Alliance was government. And Kenny Bascom spoke more on the Shirley Deal show than he did in the House. Nandi Davis wasn't until she was a minister when she really was involved. So I think I take your point, and I am bothered by backbenchers who don't, represent their constituents. But I think in fairness, I did recognize, and I used those 2 people in particular when they were government. Now we've moved past that. What you're saying is those days are over for your political party.
Well, exactly. I mean, if you look at what we've been doing, even as the 11, we really want all of our MPs. Our Senate team is so super solid. Listening to them in the Senate, they are an amazing team, and really working on the strengths of everybody that's in there. So,
okay, no worries.
Well, when you talk about your constituents and the things that you have, and that you're listening, what have you heard are their concerns? What particularly?
The economy. The economy is a big concern for them because of the job situation. If people don't have a job, our housing crisis is going to get even worse. People are going to leave. So those are the concerns that we are hearing. We're hearing about concerns about the cost of healthcare, the cost of housing, and then of course we always have our constituent area issues or concerns, this road, this hedge, things like that, the garbage collection, and bus schedules, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting because, I was reading, obviously it was an election. It was election day in the US yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess some rather surprising results. I can't vote, so I don't really take part in that respect. So I'm a great observer of US politics. And one of the things that I kept noticing is two different strategies, right?
Mm-hmm.
The conservatives rely on a strategy of Trumpism right now, right? The Democrats rely on a strategy, they're not Trumpism. But both parties actually miss the policy and legislation piece of selling, your politics to the people that you want to vote for. However, it works for one party and it doesn't work for the other. And I think that's where, when you answer the question about what's what you're hearing in the from constituents, that's what we want to hear. Like, we want to know what you're hearing, and when you get that information, what are you doing to fix it? Folks, if you have any questions or concerns or comments for Ms. Kemp, please send them through and I will be sure to ask her. Did you want to respond to that, Ms. Kemp?
I'm sure. And you're absolutely right. You've hit that on the nail on the head. So what we are hearing is that people want more than just talk. They want to know that they're being listened to and that we're actually presenting solutions. And you'll see that in most of the media pieces that we're putting out nowadays, that we're actually talking about solutions, not just bashing the PLP. We will give shade when shade is needed and call it criticism. But at the same point, we need to be offering solutions that are real, that are tangible, that are doable, because this is all of our country.
Yeah.
Indeed. And before we go to the audience, I just want to ask, so top concern is the economy, and understood. And you mentioned, there's homes, like people need jobs and so on. Yeah. But there was an incident last week. There was an incident at a Hamilton pub where there was a double murder in Bermuda. And, double murders are rare, are extremely rare in Bermuda. But it was a double murder pretty much around the time people are getting out of work in a restaurant pub. What is the OBA's solution to Bermuda's gang problem?
That's a really hard question that honestly we have been looking at for the last decade, just as every other political party in Bermuda has been looking at. Part of the issue is that you have to be working more on that community parish policing level of identifying and getting involved earlier on as well, but also looking at what is the reason that people are entering gangs and what alternatives are we even offering people to this.
And I actually don't mind that approach, because what you're doing is you're trying to before saying what you're gonna do, you're trying to understand what needs to be done. Why is it happening first? What and I see so many people with solutions, but yet the problems still remain. Always interesting. Let's go to the audience. Quite a few. Again, folks, I'll try to get through as many comments and questions as possible. Misha Fabler says, why was Marcus Jones given more responsibility? Shouldn't his vocal support of Donald Trump post January 6th attack on the U.S. government raise questions about his judgment?
That's been asked and answered already multiple times by our leader in the past. So if you listen to our Senate team recently over the last, 8-9 months, they have been absolutely solid and doing a stellar job in that Senate. So
I will have to refresh myself, Misha, just in terms of what was said. I remember something happening, but I don't remember. Sean Smith's asking, I see OBA has a few new faces that have put themselves forward as candidates. Will you be in a better position to field a full slate of candidates for the next election?
Absolutely. That is exactly what our goal is. So that's why you are seeing new faces now. So we're not waiting till the night before the election or the night, on nomination day to say, here's our candidates. We want you to know who your candidate is now. And if you want to get involved, now's the time to do it. We really, really encourage people to get involved.
All righty. And Chica Trot, she's asking, she's stating, I don't hear from my OBA MP ever, only during a pending election.
I just say drop me a DM so that way I can look into that, because obviously our MPs are out there and we want to make sure that they're getting to everybody and listening and talking to everyone.
All righty. Teresa Ann Marie says, inspiring has been Bert's drive through the BEDC to spur entrepreneurship, but realistically, how successful has it truly been? To what extent have many started only to fold in the face of loans that cannot be repaid and must ultimately be written off? How do the operating costs of BEDC stack up against the actual benefits derived thus far?
I don't have that information, but I think that's an excellent parliamentary question, because you're right. They weren't offering assistance, true assistance. They're offering loans. And at the end of the day, those loans have to be repaid. And yeah.
Well, Madam Kemp, I honestly, I appreciate you guys always being open to having these conversations. We've had quite a few of your members on. We'd love to have a leader if he's open one day as well. But I think it's important. I mean, it's 30-6. We all know this, but it's important to know what you all are out there doing. Not just to stay relevant, but that's actually helping to improve the lives of the community and the Bermudian people as a whole. So thank you for the work that you're doing. I always state, regardless, of how we feel about the politics, we've got to all have one thing in common, and that's our love for country. So appreciate what you're doing. And please know, as I state very often to some people, not all anymore, but the door is wide open if you need to come back. All right.
He is so shady.
Thanks so much.
Appreciate you much. Have a great one.
Same with you. Thank you.
Thanks again to Catherine Kemp, the chair of the One Bermuda Alliance. Folks, if you have any, if you appreciated the information that was shared, you know what to do. Give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. If you didn't, you can even just give us an angry face and I will just be rude right back to you. But no, honestly, I really do appreciate the One Bermuda Alliance for being open to always coming on and having these conversations. At the end of the day, I appreciate her transparency to say, no, we honestly don't know the answer to this, but it's something we're working on understanding. So you can't just run to every problem with a solution if you don't truly understand it. That's how we end up with a bigger problem, right?
We end up with a bigger problem, and politics is just, what it is. It's a lot.
Indeed. That's why I chose what I did, and it ain't politics. Folks, we have a movement moment right now before we come back with the Daily Play. And this movement moment is probably one of the most powerful that Tamra has done. Don't just watch and listen to this part, but go to her social media and watch the end of it as well.
Welcome to this movement moment brought to you by People's Pharmacy. Together, we can illuminate your path to wellness.
Welcome to today's movement moment with Tamra Donnell, brought to you by People's. Tamra, what are we discussing today?
Good morning, Jamal, and good morning to your listening audience. This month, November, the 11th month of the horoscope of power, we are discussing humility, the power of gratitude. Now, many might say, why humility and cultivating the power of gratitude in a wellness plan? Well, it's my opinion that developing the value of humility is essential to personal growth. And we know wellness is about physical, spiritual, and mental health. So humility, I would argue, is an integral part of a wellness plan. Religious texts often present the idea of the importance of humility, but in today's world of tweets, TikToks, and bite-sized chunks of reality, humility seems like a far-off concept. So some might be saying, well, what is humility? It's defined as the quality or state of not thinking you are better than other people, while gratitude is defined as the quality of being thankful and as a readiness to show appreciation for others. So having the power to admit and accept your imperfections, allowing yourself to be more approachable and open to new or opposing ideas, while recognizing that it's better to let others talk about your accomplishments than to necessarily always be speaking about them yourselves. To me, that's an integral part of an overall wellness plan.
Thank you for tuning into this movement moment. To enjoy the benefits of the full episode, check us at Instagram at MVMT with Tamra Donnell or at People's BDA.
Word for the month of November, humility. We will be right back.
Same smooth sounds, different name. BCG Radio, home of Bermuda's most engaging morning talk shows, The Daily Hour and Good Day Bermuda. Download the app, available for Android and Apple devices. BCG Radio, your station for conversations and entertainment.
All right. Thanks again to Catherine Kempe and the One Bermuda Alliance for today's conversation. Thanks again to One Communications, Lindo's Medical House, and People's Pharmacy for supporting us on a daily basis. Before we get to the daily play, Sherry, what are your thoughts on today's conversation?
Distant learning, physical education, get out there and just get moving, whatever it is. I remember one time I had my nephew just running back and forth, market second,
Yeah.
and so, that's very important for the whole person. Speaking to Catherine Kemp, Chair Catherine Kemp, was very interesting. As we all know, politics isn't my thing.
Mhm.
However, it was great learning some valuable information coming from the OBA. So I appreciated her transparency, and I thought the report card was cute.
She said it, folks. No, I definitely appreciate the conversation earlier about physical education and how we, ideas. I love the role YouTubers play it because and YouTube is considered social media, but for all the slack that social media takes, I'm so happy that so many of us have found a way to utilize it to improve our lifestyle. So just getting up and moving, and as Larry mentioned, what we eat as well. From a political perspective, I do appreciate the transparency. But one thing I will say, and I always joke about this, people speak and act a lot differently in opposition than they do in government. And my hope is that, that one day will change, but the patterns are there. So appreciate the conversation, and hopefully, the ideas that they have that are good can be used to improve Bermuda, because this should be about Bermuda, not any political entity. Time for the Daily Play, brought to you by Heineken 0.0. Great taste, no alcohol. Sherry, are you ready?
Send good vibes, guys. Send good vibes.
Help her out, folks. It's an easy one. It's an easy one. It's an easy one. It's a say it, don't sing it. Here we go. Here are the lyrics to today's song. Quote, "Every moment without you, it seems like eternity. I'm begging you, come back to me."
Female, stop it, Jamal, with the damn music. Excuse me, T. Say it again.
She wants another shot. She wants another shot. Every moment without you seems like eternity. I'm begging you, come back to me.
Mariah, is it Mariah? What song? Was I close?
People are saying the name of the artist, but you know how this works, folks. We need the artist. There we go. Chica Reyna, Boys to Men.
Thanks, Chica girl.
I thought you had that one. I honestly thought you had that one.
No, I heard this song, of course.
Yeah, I thought you had.
But I don't think you should play the music in saying that, because I couldn't get the tune and stuff because you got this horrible elevator music.
Are you blaming the music?
You're so shady today.
Hold on, Wheel of Fortune should stop playing the music because it messes people. No, we're gonna get you. We're gonna get you. So, Chica Reyna, you're the champ today. You're the champ. Sherry, the audience feels like you need some daily inspiration today.
I told you, testing is not my strong point.
Yeah.
My daily inspiration today is the difference between ordinary and extraordinary is that little extra. And that is Jimmy Johnson, football coach of what team, Jamal?
Oh, his coached quite a few teams, the Dallas Cowboys, I believe.
Wow. That's the only one I care about.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, that's the only one she cares about, folks.
Now, if you ask me that question, I knew that.
Oh, okay. So we got to ask a few sports questions next week.
Back in the 90s.
Oh, the 90s. Okay.
Back then.
Okay, back then. That was a hot Niners song I thought she would have got, folks. Anyway, folks, let's do something real quickly. Let's do a quick game. Roll call. Let us know where you're tuned in from. I'll go first. don't diss where I am, Sherry. I'm in Boynton Beach.
Yeah,
What?
early bird special. I am in Hot Atlanta.
Oh, Hotlands. Oh, where you don't even want to go see the victory parade, huh?
Jamal, it is gonna be crazy. And I was just told that it's Friday, and I actually have a job functioning down in Atlanta, and I'm just like, I'm already hoping that they're canceling it.
Just trying to get out of work, folks.
Well, I'm in Fairburn, Georgia. I'm like 30 minutes away from downtown.
All right, let's see where everybody's at. We've got Delaware in his house. Renita Grams, Chica Renas up in Charlotte. Kakalaki, one of your neighbors here, Laverne Amanda Kelly, is in A to the T to the L, the champions of baseball in the United States of America. We've got Nicole Walker, the city of Hamilton, not Hamilton Parish. See, it's important. There's a distinction, folks. We've got Hamilton Parish, Huntsville, Alabama in it.
Yes, that was my little stomping ground too.
That's the place. We've got PR, which is Puerto Rico, not public relations, folks. NT Steeds in Atlanta as well. That's right. Home of the champs, Scotland in the house. St. David's. St. David's a parish yet, sister?
Talia. Different.
We've got Bilbao, Spain. That's what's up. I love it. I love it. And we've got in the car on Middle Road, Paget. Well, I hope you're not driving.
My sister.
Sister, I hope you're not driving. Let's play it safe. What the heck? What that means? Is that
Saludes?
I'm not pronouncing anything wrong. You told me something wrong last week. I still ain't put you on the carpet. Sherry saying, hey, now Boynton Beach, no people that live there now in Delray. Yep, Delray is right next to me. And Hamilton Parish, we got Somerset, and we've got Devonshire, Bermuda. All right, nice roll call. We've got people all over. See, I knew it was different language. She says it means hello. Sherry acting like she knew what it meant. And Sherry,
I didn't. I was just trying to help you out.
Let me go back. So Sherry
No, because I know what you're going to say.
It was Trust Park.
I knew it.
She told me, folks, and I'm like, oh, it is. I got it wrong. Man, I meant to hit her up last night, right? I was like, no, I'm gonna get it on air, and I'm lucky I remembered just now. It is Truist Park, folks.
It is Truist Park, but it is SunTrust is in there as well. But that was the funniest when I did see that. I said, oh, it is true. And I said, but he ain't said nothing. I ain't saying nothing.
That's how she is. So she's like, he shouldn't have cheated off my answer on the paper. Yeah, he got it wrong. Anyway, we've got to get out of here. But it's just funny. Thanks again to our partners, Medical House, One Communications, Lindo's, and People's Pharmacy for ensuring that we're able to do this with you on a daily basis. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. She's Sherry Vanderpool. I'm Jamel Hartman. My friends, please do make it a great and safe day. Peace.